Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. I think it's time to clean it out and gut it. Not gonna lie to you, gang, I'm nostalgic about it. It's always been this crappy since I've had it. It's kind of like your first rat hole apartment, you know? It's like, it's nice to move up, but I'm always kind of proud of what I made happen, you know? Like, I had no budget. $2,500 is a stretch for me, and still I made the trip that I wanted to do happen, you know? Like, I lived with it, you know? This was good enough. It got me everywhere I needed to go. I wasn't better than this. I'm still not. It's just, I don't know, kind of fun to like redo it and reinvent. But I think the biggest mental thing is going to be removing that divider, and I want to do that for the dog, and it's going to change everything. So I don't know, having a moment of taking it in, and I'm glad I'm documenting all this because it's a cool memory doing this whole thing, and we'll make some new ones in it, but you know, feels like the end of something, I guess. I don't know. You guys get nostalgic about silly stuff? All right, gang, the dog is here to help me usher in a new era of vanitude awesomeness. I am getting more and more nostalgic as I realize I'm gonna gut this thing, because it feels like I'm moving out of a childhood bedroom or something like that. But I guess the part I keep kind of forgetting is that I get to keep the van. We're just gonna keep going. So we're gonna dive in, see what I left in here, package it all up, figure out what's gonna come back in, and then we're gonna try to remove that divider for dog's sake, and then probably that shelving unit because it's in bad shape. So let's just dive in. Like, this is the doohickey bag for the jumper cables, and I can never ever get them back into the bag once they come out. Let's get a trash bag. What do we got? Trash bag. Irony. All right. I think this is like the remnants of the bag of hardware I got with the doors. I think maybe that's actually an aftermarket radio. Huh. Do we need to reinstall that, gang? Gaff tape, always helpful. Tire iron. Super cheap. Extra padlocks. All right. This is the leftover IKEA hardware. Oh, bottle opener. We gotta mount that. Main battery disconnect. That's a good idea too. The original brake proportioning valve. Door number 2. All right, so this is interesting. Like, this is the inverter cables that came with the inverter thing that was gifted to me. So I guess the idea is, in a pinch, you can just like hook it up to your battery and power something. Got a first aid kit. That's pretty smart of me. All right, jumper cables. Jack stand. That's a good idea. The dog is right there. Rope light. I saved this, which is the cutout for our roof panel, and I'm actually pretty glad I did. We can always delete that later. One of the original dog dish hubcaps. Don't know what that is. Old plexi doors for the shelf unit behind me. Oh, that's the button that used to go in the original back door. Who knew? Some kind of radio plate. Oh, it's probably for that radio, actually, that's back there. Yeah, I seriously just bought this and mostly used it as is. Need a last wrench? Holy smokes. Is that a full set? Unbelievable. It's the only one I have on the entire property. Oh, the headlight knob. It's very sticky and gross. This is a California registration from the guy I bought it from. How about it? Screwdriver, dish soap. You can see back here, the back of the shelf is falling off and everything. It's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Salt and pepper shakers. LMC truck catalog, valid through 2019. This is how I listen to music on the way back. Got it at the Pomona swap meet flea market thing, along with that Bruce Springsteen poster that is featured prominently in the garage. I traveled. Bruce Springsteen was my companion in this vehicle. Neat stuff, but it's falling apart, you know? The back's falling off of it. It's sliding down. I think it's just time to go. We just gotta figure out how to get all this stuff out, because I've basically built myself a moat of junk. I may issue this warning a few too many times in this course of videos right now, but I will say right now, this van does function. It needs a good cleaning, but it works. So if you're thinking about van life or camping or whatever else, and you've just bought yourself a van, my recommendation is do not gut it as your first thing. Go ride around in it. Go for a weekend adventure. Go for a day trip. See what you need, see what you like, see how you use it. Because, I don't know, it's probably more of a hot rod thing, but if you look on Craigslist, or I hate Facebook Marketplace, but that's where everybody goes these days, there are so many projects that somebody disassembled, and that's the easy part, gang. Putting it back together is significantly harder. Don't be that guy. Like, don't go full gung-ho as your first thing ever and just gut something and go, all right, because it may never get back together, and then you're going to want to sell it on the internet for everything you have in it plus parts, and basically once you've disassembled it, you've cut the value by like all of it. Who wants your basket case, you know? So I just found some old national parks recreation guides, May 21st to September 7th, 2015. That's when we crossed the country in this thing. I will say I had a wonderful bright-eyed naivety, and I thought I was in California. I wanted to go to Yosemite. I wanted to see all these national parks, and I did about 5 minutes of research and realized I was behind the 8 ball. Campsites and drive-in passes and all that stuff, they're booked a year out. I don't know when it opens, but it completely fundamentally changed how I was going to do my road trip. I thought I would do a little bit more legit camping. Not legit camping, but like national park wilderness type stuff. And it shifted toward a lot more urban camping. I went and saw a bunch of small California towns and towns across Arizona on the way back, as opposed to trying to go to the national parks, because you just can't get in, man, or I couldn't. Be mindful of that. If that's really your dream for something like this, you're gonna have to plan ahead. And I was choosing to be completely devoid of planning as absolutely much as possible. Like, I didn't have a plan at all. I just had $2,500 cash. And I did have a return plane ticket, because the round trip was cheaper than the one way. But once I missed that flight, that was it. So, and that was the end of week 1. And I missed that flight. So, yep. All right, let's see if this will come out. I'm gonna try the rip and tear method. I have a screwdriver just in case, and I have the dog right here, just chilling. So, degree of difficulty 7. Here we go. Interesting. Well, apparently I got to take this out first, because I buried something back here. So here's the sunroof panel and the vent panel that I saved when I cut them out. Anything good? What do we got? Floss, lighter, tea lights. Okay, sure, cool. I'm very curious. I didn't do the insulation. The moving blanket was the only thing in here, but if that insulation's good, believe you me, gang, we're gonna keep it, because why wouldn't we? Gang, the dog is afraid of one thing, and that's objects falling over. And yet, maybe she just knows I need the support today. Right, buddy? And let's be real. The reason we're getting this involved is for you, because this divider's got to come out, and I'm glad you like the van so much, because, well, you didn't, this would be a bit of a waste. Karate, karate, karate. All right, now I put that piece of wood in 2015, and that was just to hold in all this fluff and grossness. This moving blanket was the only thing here. Now, that's just a piece of Luan, basically underlayment. So basically I'm shocked that it held up. That's what we're getting at here, gang. The dog has taken a momentary break from being in here, and I got a crowbar, so round 3. Okay, come out whatever way you want, man. Dynamite, plumber's putty, please be DB Cooper's money. What is this? All right, that's a significant amount of space, and I'm learning a couple things while digging in here. First of all, we just opened all that up, which is kind of nice. However, it is probably the most disposable of space. You know, if you're gonna crash in here, I find you crash toward the back. I don't know why, that just seems to be the thing. And it's right behind the driver, so to turn around and look, like it's not, it's right behind your head, so it's not in impairing vision of any part of the, it's not impairing any kind of vision for any part of the van. Gang, this is making me a little sad to take all this out, but there's come a little dream catcher hanging on this thing. Dog's back in here, reminding me that dog would like to hang out in here, and this has got to go for dog. But in addition, if you're building a camper van or a stealth camper, or even like, I don't know, let's say, here's what I'm getting after. If you're building some kind of camper or stealth camper, or you might ever want to hang out in the back of your van to take a break on a road trip or whatever, it's very nice to be able to get from the driver's seat to the back. Now, if you want a divider, that's cool, but I think you should consider one with a door or a passageway of some kind, because I felt really conspicuous, and remembering this now, about getting out of the van after parking it and like climbing in one of the side doors. It's like, to me, that's a really suspicious behavior, and you know, a little bizarre, and drew more attention to me than I wanted. So in addition, it had this weird other effect. Like, on the one hand, I felt, you know, isolated, that if somebody broke into the front, I could just get out the back. But it made it so if something started to get weird, which it never did while I was on the road, but if it did, I couldn't just climb up to the front, drive off, and find a new place to be. It's like I had to get out, go around, and then, you know, let myself, like, it was a process that I didn't like very much. So, just saying, out she goes. I've got the Sawzall, but honestly, I don't know how this thing was installed, so I guess I'll give it 5 minutes and see if I can disassemble it. The way that this track tapers, it had to come in from this side, so I'm assuming it laid down this way. So I'll pull these screws and we'll see what happens. How do you work? Someone tell me stuff. All right, let's take a second to appreciate this work. This was like old school cabinet built. So they built the pieces, installed them, assembled them, and then laminated them in place. Like, I guess a cabinet shop built all this stuff. I would love to know what it was like originally and what all these little screw holes and stuff are for, but this is pretty similar to how I got it. So there's whatever this sleeve is, I guess for like a notebook or a, you know, I always assumed it was for a clipboard or something, but I don't really know. If you guys have ever seen one of these like legit fire hydrant checking trucks, put it in the comments, let me know. Here we go. Come on to your butts. Gang. So much more room for activities. So much more mess to clean up. Wow, that's so different. Dudes, this thing weighs a ton. 3/4 at least. Super dense particle board, 2 sheets of laminate. Yeah. What do you think, dog? All right, what do we got in here? But this is interesting. I guess this is all the original wiring that ran to all of the fancy pants fire lights, I would guess. I don't know, I didn't do any of that. And there's nothing back here. Well, maybe that's just the regular looms. It's brake lights, license plate lights, dome lights. Just feels like a lot. Don't know. I'm kind of secretly hoping we're gonna find an auxiliary fuse box. I just don't know where it would be. So, in fact, I don't even know how that wiring gets here. So, all right, we clean out all this area and see what we're working with. Dudes, this is still in here. This is seriously how I navigated the country. Did not have a smartphone, did not have GPS. So I had this map and I would get up in the morning and write instructions on sheets of paper and masking tape onto the doghouse. That's really, I mean, that's pretty neat. Obviously, we'll be saving on all of that. Let's see what old Sledgerson has to say about it. Gang, we have done some damage, like a lot, and made a huge mess. So it is time to jam you guys into full high-speed mode, and I'm gonna clean all this crap out, and let's see what our canvas looks like after that. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be pretty good. Gang, it's cleaner, but look at all this crap we still have to deal with. It's pretty remarkable. Yeah, I mean, some of that's nostalgia stuff. You know, the clutter, the junk, the tchotchkes, they don't go anywhere. But I wanted to show you what I discovered. So this is mostly in good shape. We clearly had a leak under this cabinet set, so I'm glad I took it out. I'm assuming it's from that plug right there, which that's just a rubber stopper. So at this point, I might put in one of those shore power plugs. I can't imagine taking this to a campsite, but you never know. And otherwise, I gotta fill that hole some other way. We'll check in the rain or with a hose to see what that's all about. Also, we know that the sunroof is leaking. That's not been a mystery. We know the doors were leaking bad, and we know that the windshield's leaking, and I think I have a guess as to where that is coming from. Now, that has all run downhill and created sort of a rusty area in the floorboard right here. So I'm just gonna drill some holes for drainage in the lower parts here, but we're also getting right on those leaks. But all in all, it's in pretty good shape. I do like it being wide open like this. It's pretty cool. And I'm not sure about this area. The little shelf idea is kind of growing on me, like for little stuff that I take anywhere when I travel, you know, like sunscreen, baby powder, Tylenol, Advil, Pepto-Bismol, the kind of stuff that, like, if you're on the road and your guts go sideways, well, you want to have that stuff. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Gang, I'm rooting around in here, and this is another mistake I see a lot of van life builds seem to make. There's lighting back here. I got running lights and brake lights, and people close this stuff in all the time. These guys were pretty smart, though. Like, I can access it through the back right under here, which, you know, I guess they planned on doing as well. I feel like a lot of people that do van life stuff forget that vehicles need maintenance. If you only had to build it once and it was perfect and it never leaked and light bulbs never went out and wiring never got chewed up by rats while you didn't van life for 3 years. Just saying. Well, fellers, she is pretty well cleaned out. Everything's kind of off the walls. This is empty. Those walls are empty. I got a mess outside the van. Should surprise no one. Got piles of stuff to go through. Some of it's going to come back in here, tools and, you know, things that were purchased for the van. It's a little bit of a mess up here, but that's mostly just speakers and wires and whatnot. So I think it's time, gang. Time to turn the corner to making it better. Having a bit of an afternoon espresso break, and I thought I'd show you the wreckage that we've created here by just cleaning out the van and then gutting the stuff that was already in there. It's all got to go somewhere, doesn't it?